Corbs is probably doing very much like what I'm outlining here. He's doing things impulsively, and then that takes him out of his focus. Instead of saying, this is what I do, this is what I'm supposed to do, and this is the methodology I should be following, he even reported that in his discussion about himself. He knew in the trades, I should be doing this, but he won't do it. Why? Because he is being denied something that he wants to do with his community. He wants to be able to do something that he's been doing daily-ish, as he says, except for Fridays, but he can't do it. Not because he can't do it. He can't do it because he's being denied from an outside source, which is the internet provider where he's at. So that sense of what? Frustration. That denial of something that would be reasonable to expect and something he's used to doing, he can't do it. So what is it doing? It's taking him out of his mental focus, his rule-based idea of what he should be doing, how to keep himself disciplined, and what it is that he should be doing when he's in a trade. That's what I find fascinating about him, because he's like a test tube for everybody to see. And it's beneficial for you. Who cares if he doesn't trade like us? That's not the point. Have I ever looked at him and said, look what he's doing wrong there? I haven't done that, and I don't want to do that. I have no intentions of doing that. I'm not trying to press on him to learn to be like us. And I saw some of you commenting, learn from ICT. Don't do that, please. You're going to embarrass me. That's not what I'm doing. Okay. I believe he is a great resource for studying the psychology of a trader. It matters not to me if he makes money or not. The fact that he's willing to spend the time that he does and then expressing his experiences, he's not holding it back. And I think that is a breath of fresh air for people that are learning how to do this. If you watch and listen to what he's saying, you're going to resonate with that, especially if you're trading before you're supposed to. Okay. I think that you will resonate with what he explains that he feels as a mental barrier and some of the things that he feels good about what he does. But mostly the struggles of finding yourself, especially in this type of volatility, because the volatility will make you fall in love with the potential of making a lot of money. Yeah, it's there. It's there every day. But this volatility is creating romances in many people's minds. And they're thinking, man, and I fell victim to it almost today. ICT almost got wrapped up in some love triangle shit. Okay. Michael, Missy, and the S&P. And I got news for you guys. My wife ain't sharing our relationship. Okay. There's no menage a trois with my wife. Okay. It's not going to happen. But that type of thing where men get wrapped up with their routine, if they get taken out of it, it takes us completely off our focus. And I think that's really what's going on with Corbs. And maybe that makes sense to you now. Maybe it makes sense to what happens in your own trading, in your own analysis. How do you feel when your normal routine is disrupted? Okay. Do you have unexpected guests? Okay. I have a student that, opened their home up to a in-law. Okay. And he admittedly did not want them staying with them, but trying to be the good spouse, trying to be the one that, I guess tries to do whatever to keep peace in the house, said, okay, they can stay here. And it's caused a nightmare for his routine as a husband, a father, an employee at the place where he works, and then come home and he's got to learn how to trade, and then he has to find time to trade. And this individual in the house, they're leaving things out when normally that doesn't go on in their house. These types of things is completely taking him out of focus. And he goes, does this sound like I'm being overbearing or frivolous? I was like, no. First of all, I wouldn't let anybody live with me. Okay. Number two, yes, I would be out of my mind. Like, I'm a person, everything has to have its own place. And if it's out of place, I'm going to know. And if it's disruptive, you need to sit down and say, hey, look, this is the way I need you to conduct yourself here. Because not only is it disruptive to me in my thought process, but once I'm out of whack, okay, and I'm not able to focus and I'm risking money, and I can't have you messing with my fucking money. Okay, that's the way you got to say it. And get your permission from me that you can say that word. But you got to find your own solutions. And you got to find your own rhyme and reason as to how you find continuity in your own life. Because if you don't have continuity, if you don't have the means of adjusting and adapting to what's going on, it's going to take you out of your focus. And you'll have these same types of things that Corbs has been talking about in his last two videos. And I think that's such a great teaching tool. It's such a great, foundation to trader psychology, because that's rarely tapped into. Rarely is that ever really brought up as a means of undoing oneself in the marketplace. Because I had done that to myself when I was in my 20s. I did not understand the impact of something as simple as I'm not able to do what I'm supposed to do normally. So what am I going to do? I'm going to look for a feel-good victory. I want a Rocky moment. Well, if you remember in Rocky 1, Apollo fucked him up. He didn't win. He got fucked up. So yeah, he survived, but he didn't get no championship. He got his ass whooped. So just remember, that's what it's going to most likely feel like. You're going to get in there and you might do a good job of slugging it out, but you're going home fucked up. So you got to stay focused. You got to stay focused, understand why you're doing it, and don't get taken out of focus. And if it's your routine, it's all out of whack, something's bringing, inconsistency and disrupting your continuity in your everyday life, that right there is a warning sign. Do not go in if you feel like you want to get, revenge, or you want to feel good moment. You want to feel like an attaboy or attagal. You did something great. Don't look to the market for that feel good moment. Don't ever look to the market like that. Now, if you do something and you feel good, there's nothing wrong about that. But don't use that as your inspiration for going in and trading. Because if you do that, what's going to happen is, and I'm closing on this point, you're going to trade more times than you're supposed to or should. You're going to use more leverage. And chances are you're not going to use a stop loss effectively or at all. Because you're going in with a one-sided perspective that it's only going to work out in your favor. Because you need it to, psychologically and emotionally, you need that victory. And you cannot envision anything but that. Now, what did you just do? You created the invitation, VIP invitation to that brokerage firm, sending your ass home with a blown account. Because that's exactly what that recipe brings you. In stunning fashion. I've done that when I was 20 years old. Everything that I did in those instances resulted in a losing trade, and it would be a bigger trade with more leverage and no stop loss. And soybeans closed me out. That was it. Wrapped up. Run up and done up. And that's what's going to happen to any of you if you don't listen. Because you're not thinking clearly and you're doing all the wrong things, but it's not going to feel like that, because in your mind, all I need is this feel good moment. No. Stop that. That's bullshit. You're bullshitting yourself. Nobody's there to tell you this. I'm telling you right now, you're full of shit, because if you get away with it, then you're going to do it again. And then what's going to happen is going to burn your ass at a later time. So the worst thing that can happen is if you win. If you make money in that instance, that's the worst toxic thing you could have done to yourself. Because you'll make that mistake again. And you don't want to make that mistake. So I'm telling you, don't look at the market like that. Don't come home pissed off because your boss maybe leaned on you, okay, or denied a vacation, or gave a promotion to somebody else and you've been working hard and you deserve it, okay, or you just don't like where you're at. You're pissed off. You came home in traffic. Somebody, bumped in your car. You had an accident or something. Now you need to do what? You need to feel rewarded for putting up with all the bullshit of everyday life. And you're going to treat the market like the lottery because you deserve the win today. Well, you don't deserve the win. Nobody deserves the win. You earn that. Okay, there's no deserving shit. Okay, you earn it. But you cannot earn it consistently if you're doing dumb shit. And dumb shit's going to be a result of you going in looking for a feel-good moment while your personal life is in disarray. And it may not even be that big of a deal, but in our minds, your spouse did something stupid. Now I'm going to tell you, this is one thing that's going to be looked at by you all like, really? That's a big fucking deal, this guy? I have a lot of books. And my books, sometimes, if I'm reading them, I'll place them down and I'll walk away from them. And they have to be exactly how I left them. If someone's moved them, my mind's going to be thinking, okay, they opened them up and the page I have with a marker on them is then been moved. Because my youngest son, he's a touchy-feely kind of guy. He's wanting to touch everything, move things around, look at shit, and I love him to death, but I can't, my mind won't let me do that. So that one little thing, if that happens before I get into the PM session, because I homeschool, that's going to be in my mind. Like, shit, he moved my placeholder. Now I got to go through and find, like, that's all it takes for me. That's all it takes for me. So it's a real hard thing living with ICT. Living with ICT would be a crazy ass sitcom. Like, it would be nuts. You would really understand how hard it is for me to manage. Like, you ever seen Howie Mandel? He does a really good job of hiding his mental illness. But when he's open about what he lives with, like, it brings me to tears all the time because I know what that feels like. Like, I know what it feels like to live with this. And to be able to sit down and separate everything else that's going on in the world and my own personal life, and the only thing that matters is these candlesticks. What is price doing right now in this time interval? Where is price at? How can I implement what I know? What's the algorithm going to do next? And I have no correlation to why I'm doing something as a reason for feeling good about what's happened in my life. That's a wrestling match all the time. And it's every day. It's an everyday instance. So when I'm done and I've been given a really, well, I guess positive outcome, I'm thankful to the Lord. I always give thanks to him. And even when I lose, I'm thankful that's all I lost. Okay. I do lose once in a while and you'll see it and I'll show it to you. But when it happens, I'm thankful that I don't lose as much as I could have on days like today. Like today, I could have been in there doing a lot of things to run up the account. But let's just say that trade that I was long in, that I left that limit order in and I would have never been filled. And I second guessed it just for a second because I was talking to my son, because many times I have to tell Caleb, listen, don't talk. Just listen to dad. I'm going to give you the dialogue because if you ask me any questions right at this moment, it's going to distract me and I won't be able to focus. And if I lose money, then I'm going to be angry. So that way, I won't have any reason for feeling angry at you or the instance of you asking a question. I want you to know what your question's going to be asking. Like, I want that answer given to you. But just let dad do what he's doing. And let me finish what I'm doing, and then I'll give you the time to any questions, anything you want to ask me. Then yes, but if you ask me a question when the market's moving, that's going to completely take me out of focus. And that's one of the things that was very hard for a lot of my students when I was doing the first year mentorship, and I was trying to sit down with them and price. And it's outlining what it's going to be like for them to sit in front of price and what they're going to be feeling, what this looks like, and kind of like pantomiming the student sitting down in front of charts, and this is what you should expect. This is what you're going to be feeling. Then I got 865 people asking me, what about this? And why'd you let this happen? You didn't buy here. Why did this happen? Is this an order block? What's this? And I felt like I needed to answer every single one of them, but I couldn't. And it was just like, I'm like a deer in headlights. And I'm caring more about their questions that I can't answer versus watching price. And it was a nightmare. I will never open myself up to that again, because it's just, I can't focus. I cannot focus. Contrast that with what you see me doing with a live account. You can see my entries. You can see how I'm managing the position. Like clearly these things work. I know how to trade, but I cannot trade if I have someone in my ear constantly, hey, what about this? And what about that? Why do you do this? Can this be looked at? Can you trade this? What about gold? I'm looking at the S&P, or I'm looking at, Forex, and these folks come up to me all the time. Hey, what about gold? Or what about dollar yen? Man, don't talk to me about no fucking yen. I don't want to hear about yen. I can't fucking stand yen. Okay. It's so heavily manipulated. I don't like it. I can't stand it. So you're going to find all these little things in your development that set you off. These little quirky ass shit that just takes you completely out of your focus. And you'll probably have those experiences that Corb's is explaining in his dialogues, saying that, hey, look, this is the way it is. I'm having a struggle with this. And the best thing you can do is be honest like him. Be honest with yourself. And I want to ask him, and his comments probably tonight before I go to bed. I'll go to his channel and post a comment on this most recent one and ask him if he journals. I don't think he's been asked that. If he has, I don't know if he's answered if he does or doesn't. But I think it would be interesting to see if he journals. And if he journals, does he record what it is that he feels and how he reacts to all those things? But, we'll see. We'll see what happens with what he does with himself with a journal, whether he uses a journal or not. It'd be interesting to know. But I think this is going to close this one. Kind of talk myself to a point where I'm ready to go home and stretch out, grab a shower. I spent probably a little bit more time talking than I should have tonight. But I got a lot of things off my chest. Maybe this was entertaining to you. Maybe you found something insightful from the discussion. If not, I apologize. I didn't mean to waste any of your time, but I think that if you found something in this, I think it'll be helpful to you going forward. And I'm sure I'll be tickling your Twitter tomorrow. Big news tomorrow in 8:30 and 10 o'clock, so just be mindful of that volatility. And I think that is going to be it for this one tonight.